I'm the chair for the rest of the afternoon. So again, like I said, you will be stuck with me. I'm the founder of Unconventional Ventures. My partner in crime is sitting right there. And together, we are trying to make banking better. So you can imagine, I loved it when Money20 said, oh, hey, we have this session. Can you guys help? It fits right into our alley. So our company is founded based on the belief that anyone should have a chance to try and be successful, regardless of where you come from, regardless of your age, my favorite topic, your gender, again, my favorite topic, your social circles and demographics. We both came from corporate backgrounds, and throughout all the times that we've been working in corporates, we kept seeing all of these amazing people with great ideas. Oh, all of these consumers that need help. But guess what? They don't really have anywhere to turn to. And so we decided to start our own thing so that we can be our own boss. We can be in charge of our own destiny. So we speak at events like this. We do advisory work with startups, financial institutions. We do a lot of writing. We have a podcast that's released every week. Stories with a purpose. And that's what we're here for. We want to tell a story with purpose. How do we make banking better? We have people with different needs, different desires, from different corners of the world, right? If you look at how the world is today, Africa, median age is 18 years old. Europe, average age, median age is 42. US is 35. But then if you dig one step deeper, Japan is one of the ultra-aged nations. Look at Monaco, 53, right? So if you look at how diverse our society has become, when we try to think about solutions for different demographics, this is one of the things we need to think about. But I would argue we actually need to go beyond age. And we'll get to that in a minute. By 2050, this is one of my favorite stats, 1 in 5 in the world will be 60 and above. 1 in 5. Look at how many of us in here, look at how many of us will be, if not already, 60. At the same time, 1.7 billion adults in the world are still unbanked. 1 in 3 are financially literate, but if you dig again deeper, most of the financial literacy is concentrated in major advanced economies, right? North America, Europe, Australia. And it is expensive to be poor. Not only is it hard to be poor, it's also expensive to be poor. This is one of my favorite slides. Inequality is sexist. What does that mean? That means that when you're a woman, you face employment gap, you face opportunity gap. You end up working 4.5 hours extra every day just to take care of anything in the house. Laundry, cooking, getting kids to school, getting them lunch, putting them in baths. I know that because I have 2 of them. And if you add up the 4.5 hours every day, guess what's going to happen by the end of my life? I would have had extra time to get an extra undergrad degree, to get an extra master degree, and then probably an extra few hours to sleep. That would have been awesome. And then if you extend that further, if we look at wealth inequality, 26 people in the world today own as much as 3.8 billion people, 50% of the poorest of humanity. While the banks have extra profits. This is record profits from US banks alone, $236 billion last year. But we can do something about it, right? It's not inevitable. We can challenge what can be done. We can make banking better together. And that's what the sessions for this afternoon will be about, is hopefully we can give you ideas and insights and inspirations how we can work together to make banking better, not just for our society, but also for the world. And we would love for you to join us to be part of the change. And with that, I will touch on the first topic, which I love the most, which is about aging. That's my background. That's why I spend most of my time on, is looking at how do we create opportunities for people that are getting older. Because like I said, we are all getting older. When we think about aging, let me start with that. Who in here knows someone who's getting older? Yes. Oh, some of you have magic powers. Awesome. Well, I don't, because I know I'm getting older. A colleague of mine told me that the minute you were born, you're getting older, and it is right? I look at my kids, 6 and 9 years old. They are much older than how they were when they were 6 and 9 months. And what's the first thing you think of when you hear about the word aging? If you do a Google, you typically see decline, physical decline, mental decline, sometimes financial decline. But everything is negative. It's about losing something. It's about losing your ability to do something. But it shouldn't be, though, right? Look at us. We have all gotten older, but none of us look like that picture up there. Because the way that we're aging is different. It's changing. And the next 2 days, this is a really cool stat. This is one of my favorite stats. 20,000 people in the US will turn 65. So today's Wednesday. I'm flying out back home tomorrow. By Friday morning, when my kids go to school, when I send them off to school, 20 people would have turned 65. Now, if you think about from a physical perspective, that's the amount of people in the O2 arena in the UK, or if you're from the US, that's the capacity of people in an SAP center in California, or Madison Square Garden in New York. Imagine the entire stadium of people celebrating their 65th birthday. And that keeps happening, it keeps going. This is not just this week. This is also next week, next month, the rest of the year, and more beyond that. And for the first time ever, there are more people that are older than 65 than there are kids younger than 5. And we talked about this earlier, 1 in 5 in the world would have been 60 and above. So we are getting older, but we're not just getting older, we're living longer, we're living much longer, much healthier, and working much more than before. We have added 30 years since the beginning of 1900s. 30 extra years. So imagine if today you ask me, I get an extra 30 years, what am I going to do? I'm going to work extra 30 years until, I don't know, retire at 85? Oh, that didn't sound cool. What would I do with the extra time? Do I spend extra 30 years touring the world, playing golf in Florida, which I probably cannot afford? What about the social norms? The social norms that we go to college. Get your degree, graduate, work until, 60, 65, get your pension, retire, enjoy your grandkids, and, watch the sunset until 80. Does that still apply? Is it still relevant for us to think about retirement? Is that something that we still think about? The other day when I was reading Financial Times, when I came in earlier in the week, it was talking about having a lot of European countries, including the Netherlands, having a retirement pension crisis. And that's something that's happening all over the world. So what does retirement mean to us? And then if we take a longer scope, what does it mean to have that extra life? Does it mean I can actually go and start a new company, which is what I did? Does it mean I can go back to school, which will be awesome? Or does it mean I can have kids later in life, or just go drive around, enjoy the world? But this much is true. 7 in 10 baby boomers, those that are 55 and above, either expect to or are already working past 65 and don't plan to retire. But guess what? People are not just working longer. What they're doing is also different. Average age of a startup founder is 42. I'm 46. I started my company last year, so I beat that. Half of new entrepreneurs in the US are aged 45 and above. Half of that. So the notion, or the quote-unquote social norm of younger people from Silicon Valley starting company is no longer true. Because we have extra time, we have extra experience, we have the network, we have the life experience and the know-how. Why don't we go start a company? We have more people working alongside each other that are from different generations. What can we make use of that? And then you start thinking about how they're earning money is also different. 35% of full-time gig workers are those of them that are older than 55 and above. And there are more multi-generational families, so it's more common to have not just parents, grandparents, but also great-grandparents. And now you need to start thinking about caregiving. What does it mean? I need to care about not just my parents' well-being as they get older, but also my grandparents' well-being. Which also means that a lot of times you will need to support them financially. 7 in 10 of people that are taking care of their loved ones also provide support from a financial perspective. So not only you're taking them to doctors or arranging for care, you're also paying for it. But then at the same time, almost half of the people that are near retirement does not have anything saved in their retirement accounts. And this, that is just US, $84,000 in savings. That's what they retire with, which means that is really nothing. And like I mentioned earlier, not just the US is having a crisis, but also UK, also a lot of European countries, also a lot of Asian countries. And in the US, we also have one more problem that a lot of people don't, which is student loan. And some would think, well, student loan, what does that play out with older people? Actually, a lot. 1 in 3 people that are age 65 and above default on the student loan. It's not just loan for themselves, it's also loan they co-sign for their kids, loans that they co-sign for their grandkids. And we're paying a hell a lot of overdraft fees. I had another description for that, but I don't think I can say that on stage. And we are getting older, and most of that is women. The future of people that are older than 100 are women, 83%. Actually, in Japan, that figure is 90%. 90% of people that are older than 100 years old are women. And we face a lot of gaps, not just gender pay gaps. We also face employment gaps. If you're a mother, the chances are you're going to get more than 22% employment gap. People are like, well, but you're a mom. And I had the exact same experience asked of me after I had my 2 kids. So like, well, can you actually still come back to work? Can you still travel as much as you used to? Can you actually still be as focused or spend as much time as you used to? And guess what I ended up getting? I got my pay cut in half. I got a 50% pay cut. And on average in the US, moms face at least $16,000 per year that they lose in their income because they're a mom, because they have to take up part-time work, or because a lot of companies, they don't provide for the flexibility that a lot of moms need. And then he said, okay, I don't want to do a corporate work. How about I go start a company? This is what we faced. Less than 1% of the investment from VCs go to all-female founding team. This is the UK figure. In the US, we're double that, which is 2%. Hoo-hoo, awesome. But you know what? All these numbers that I throw at you, what does that mean? Women are still making a lot of the decisions, but are we paying attention to them? We're not. If you look at wealth management industry, 70% of widowers break up with their financial advisor after their husband passed away. Why? Because they don't pay attention to the women. There was an article recently that talked about a new financial advisor sitting down with one of the older male financial advisor as they were talking to a couple. And then after the meeting, the young lady asked, well, I don't understand it. Why is it that in the entire meeting, you were only looking at the husband? What about the wife? And the guy said, well, I don't think it was polite to be addressing the lady, the wife. We still have that. It's 2019. Even though, in spite of all of this, we are actually living a different life. We are aging differently. Take a 50-year-old today, amongst all of us are 40 or however old you are. Depends on where you live, depends on how you're raised, depends on your social background, everything. How we're living a life is different. How we're getting older is different. So my question to you guys and to those outside the room is, will financial institutions guide us through this new experience, this new normal that we're experiencing, not just men and women, but society in general? Or are we going to start going to Fintech or Big Tech, who might think about our needs? How will we move from focusing technology for younger 18 to 35 years old to moving to focusing solutions to meet the needs of everybody as we get older? How do we move from designing products for people as they age to designing products with people as they get older? Just because we got older doesn't mean we want a big old pendant that we are wearing that says, oh, look at me, I'm old. This is from a recent digital banking conference in the US where bankers were asked, which one of these groups would you be interested in engaging with? Now, remember this, over 70% of bank deposits sit with people that are older than 50. But only a little over 5% of these people are like, oh yeah, I want to be dealing with all these people that hold all these money in my bank. I asked one of the bankers and I'm like, I don't get it. If these people hold so much money within your institution, why don't you want to bother with them? And his answer was very candid. He said, well, since he already has money with us, why would I even bother? Let it sit there. And this is one of my favorite cartoons, because this is exactly what a lot of people are doing. We are so obsessed with the younger generation that we're trying so hard to figure out how do we make ourselves so cool to be attractive to them. I'm not going to comment on how ridiculous that looks. It's time for a new narrative. It's time to think about a different future where we can merge human and technology together, where we can create new solutions for people that are older. Because it's BS that we say, oh, old people don't use technology. Come on. They do. Because they stalk your kids' pictures on Facebook. They comment on each other's social circle. They text, they SMS, they email, they do all kinds of stuff. And they like new technology too. Yes, it might take them a little longer. That doesn't mean that they're scared of technology. They love voice. A lot of older people love Alexa because it's something so intuitive and so easy. You don't have to go learn how to navigate a menu option. We need to start thinking about solutions in terms of life stage instead of age. Age doesn't really mean anything because it really depends on where you live. But what means something is, what are the life events these people are going through? What are they doing in their lives? Are they starting a new business? Do they have kids going to college? Did they just lose a spouse? What things are they going through? And then from that, think about what things these people are needing, because I would challenge you, a lot of the needs of this particular population is not that different than people that are in 20s. It's not that much different than people that are in their 30s, nor 40s. Just because you get older doesn't mean you stop saving because we're living longer. But what that means with longevity is that we can probably take much more risk than we were able to. So think about that from a financial institution perspective. How do we guide them through this change? What about the accumulation? We are accumulating more wealth. We're getting wealth differently, like what I was talking about. You have more gig workers, which is different than how we used to earn our money, very stable check every other week. But now we're getting fluctuating income. How do we deal with that? Are we giving consumers tools to deal with this new way of earning money? What about financial caregiving? Do we have solutions to help them take care of their loved ones? How do we think about that really, really complex scenario? Because you're not marketing technology to an old person. You're actually creating solution to a wide circle of people. A quarter of caregivers are millennials. If you want to run after millennials, don't dress up like a kid with a scooter. Think about how you can help them help their parents and grandparents. Think about how you can help the parents and grandparents help their kids, young kids, grandchildren. How do you create solutions to take care of financials for the entire family, multiple generations? How do we help them plan for finances so that they don't run out of money in the later years in life? And how do you help safeguard their assets? It's not just about accumulating. It's not just about getting more deposits. We're racing to get deposits. How do we safeguard the money that they have? Each episode with financial exploitation, these seniors lose an average of $100,000 US, which is their entire savings nest. And I would argue there are a lot of times technology can be used to safeguard that. You can use AI to detect changes in patterns. You can use AI to figure out the accumulation and financial planning. You can use analytics. You can use human. What we lack is not technology. What we lack is, do we actually really care? We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know what's going to happen with Brexit or the election in the US next year or anything else. But what if we focus on what we can do? What if we look at what technology we have, what know-how we have, and use that to create a better future for the people that are amongst us, amongst our circles, our friends, our families? What if there's a machine out there that can actually understand your obligations and your aspirations, and then act as your personal CFO to help you figure out what it is that you need to navigate to a future. Technology is something that's changing everything. We can't stop that. But what we can do is rethink our attitude and our thoughts around work and retirement. What we can do as an industry is to help consumers make better financial decisions. What we can do is to help anticipate what their needs are and act as their personal CFO. And what we can do, what you all can do, is to be part of that change. And this is one of my favorite quotes. The world will always need human brilliance, human ingenuity, and human skills. We need you. We need people. Because without you, that is not the future that we want. The future of aging should not be a story of survival. It should be one of living. And you guys can be part of that change. Thank you.